Managing Director of Paragon Trust Company and tax and private client practitioner, joins us to bring a common sense approach to money in a world of total insanity. Let's welcome Tony D'Angelo.
All right, on Tuesday mornings we chat, and not always about the world of money. It's about something that interests Tony, and normally it interests the rest of us. So, Tony, first of all, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and good morning, Lee. Good morning, everybody. Proud to be among you guys.
So, you know, you had a mouthful before we were going to start. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Well,
where do you want to go?
I think you could call this Perspectives on a Pandemic Pandemonium. How's that? And
well done.
Thank you. And when I was trying to assemble this information last night, you know, I thought of my father. Now, I lost my father. I was 22. I really was a very, very, very young man. It's a hard time to lose your father. But my father was a projectionist. He ran movies. He ran movies in my town. And one day I asked him, I said, what was your favorite movie, Dad, that you ever ran? And he said, hands down, he said, The Caine Mutiny with Humphrey Bogart. And one night, this is, I think, on the old Channel 2 in New York, they played it, and we watched it. And there is a clip which I'm going to post to your feed with your permission. But it is the whole issue of when does a leader go off of the rails, or go off of the reservation, and what are the responsibilities of the other people around him to say, hey, you know, you really got to get this thing right, or, you know, you're really gone, and pal, you're going to kill us, and we're just going to get you out of the way. Captain Queeg on the Caine was incapable of leadership, and the leaders the ensigns looked at him and said, you know, well, we've got to get rid of him. No, wait, you know, there's a chain of command. This is what we're doing, and there's the scene of the clip I'm going to post, which is the whole fixation on the strawberries being stolen, and I just thought to myself, this is our governor, and this is what our governor is doing. But anyway, just to take you down some of these perspectives, and this will all tie out in the end when all the balls hopefully get in the same place. The Reopen Connecticut panel has been reconfigured. Now, let me just say this, Lee Elci. People listen to your show because last week we talked about Scott Gottlieb, and we talked about Zeke Emanuel and the things they were involved with. Gone. Completely out. Don't know what happened to them. There's other people in their place. However, the whole issue with the Reopen Connecticut panel is we started last week with this panel is going to decide what we're going to do for terms of reopening. Now it's coming out in softer terms. Now, let me just say this. I've got friends on this panel who will be there. They're great people. I just sure hope somebody listens to them. But the core group, and Ned Lamont has made this very, very, very clear, is going to have the main sway here. And Indra Nooyi of Pepsi, or formerly of Pepsi, is going to be chairing it. And, the question you got to ask yourself is, well, they're going to have something ready by May 20th to decide to reopen in June. I mean, is this how she ran Pepsi? I mean, I kind of doubt it. When you go down the list of other people who are there on this board, one person here, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Oni Chukwu, he's the executive chairman of Aventry. Aventry at one time owed the state $21 million. I can't find any current statistics as to what's there. There's another guy here, Alex Carnell, who is a venture capital guy, who's part of, quote unquote, the inner circle. I can't really say one thing or the other, but I just kind of asked the question as to why he's there. And a couple of the other people who are very involved in the state universe. Now, it's like, why isn't the pizza guy from Ledyard there? Mm-hmm. Why isn't the mini golf owner from Berlin there? So what? Who cares? And this is the part. These are the people whom I see, in my daily travels. Like, what has happened here? But you have this whole thing going on, and basically, where I invoke, the memories of Captain Queeg is that we see things from legislators, and it's like, well, this is something we should be involved in. It's like, fellas, ladies, I mean, don't you realize there's a constitutional obligation you have here to ask the question as to why the legislature is not involved in this decision and why we cannot go on to CTN or the news or whatever and me actually talk to my legislator and say, where are we on this, and get an answer? It's like everybody is AWOL. And it's just, maybe not everybody, but one young legislator yesterday had a wonderful, eloquent speech, and I asked him, Charlie, not his real name, will you guys have the intestinal fortitude to ask the Captain Queeg question? Dead silence.
Right.
Dead silence. So it's like, that's, put it this way, that's ball number one, and I know you've got a comment.
Well, I mean, I want to know, again, you made the point, how do you get on this panel? Who's making that determination, and why isn't it more sort of the knuckle-dragging, hard-working construction guys or what have you, guys who are out there making a difference every day, or gals? And then the other part of that, which I think you alluded to, is if it were me, and sure, I would maybe invite some folks in the business community to sit in a room with me in a conference room, but I certainly might surround myself with some of the smarter elected officials that are in Hartford to help me if I want to help making a decision, because I think it's a strength to surround yourself with people in the know. But eventually, this guy's got to make a decision, I think. And that goes actually same for the president, too. I don't want to just label out Lamont because, I think that the president has wavered a little bit in some of these cases.
Well, I would agree.
So I think they're kind of in the similar parallel, not exactly the same. But that's where I am on that. I think it's kind of similar to where you are.
Well, yeah, and the whole idea really is that we as a body of people elect people, to represent our wishes and majority rules. And this state of Connecticut, and especially the real business community, is being shut out of this process, and their very lives depend on it. These are the people I run into every single day.
We got to get to a point, I think, Tony, that we figure out how to get everybody. Because if you can go to the store to buy food, we can figure out how to get some of these other businesses open.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And we're big people. We can distance. We can wash hands. We can protect. And it's like you get a little bit resentful of the fact of somebody telling you what to do. I mean, you now have physicians. If you ran into this, there is a Dr. Aronson and Marshishi in Bakersfield, California. These guys are involved. And this brings us into the other ball, half the testing going on there. And I'm not going to get involved with the scientific stuff. I am not qualified to speak in this. But one thing, and these are excellent interviews, you can find them on the internet, is Dr. Erickson said, my friend's working in the emergency room. People are dying of other causes, and the administrators are saying, put COVID on the report.
Right.
Why are you doing that? Which kind of speaks to the whole metric thing. And guess what? We found Renee Coleman Michu. we actually found her. She does exist. I have friends who help me do things, and they sent me some of the documents that they get, which are public documents from the Department of Health. Renee Coleman Mitchell, perhaps the reason why you haven't heard much from her is that not only is she a staunch advocate of testing, she has, quote unquote, we will not, in her memos to her people, we will not count a statistic unless we have a hard test. And Connecticut does have the facility, her words in her memo, so that, we have the facility for laboratory control tests, and we don't get that from the governor. We don't get that from the guy who's the head of vital statistics. So it's like, fellas, ladies, like, what game are we playing? Just tell me the game, and I can play it.
Well, I'll tell you, according to Fox News earlier this morning, hospitals get 20% more if they list a patient as a COVID patient.
Oh, yeah, and by the time you get to Stimulus 5, Lee, which is going to be, quote-unquote, the need-based things for the cities and towns, it is one incredibly major jump ball.
No good. Anyway, everybody else good in your world?
Everybody here is fine. I mean, working away, I go to bed at night and I just say to myself, can this really be happening? But, it's somewhere between the last days in the Bible and the Sherelle saying, Mama said there'd be like this.
I think, though, the natives are getting very restless.
I sure hope so.
You know what I mean? I think they're getting restless. Listen, pal, good stuff. I can't thank you enough, and I'm looking forward to that post so people
Okay,
can.
take care. Bye now. Bye, everybody.
You have a good one. Tony Dick, there you go. Good stuff from him today. Actually, I'm running a little bit late. I got to get to Bob Lazari.